Joining us now, Democratic Senator of Louisiana, Senator Mary Landrieu, and Republican Senator of Tennessee, Senator Lamar Alexander.
Okay, have you all not gotten the memo? This is out of Ghostbusters, dogs and cats living together.
Exactly.
You all are not supposed to get along. What are you working on, Senator?
Charter schools.
Charter schools.
There you go.
Education reform makes us happy.
Well, so what about this week? What's special about this week?
Charter School Week, which is public schools that are entrepreneurial, and it's just so exciting what's happening around the country. And my friend and colleague here helped start the movement, and we are bringing into reality in New Orleans. 80% of our children in the city are now in public charter schools.
Can you talk about that? Because we went to a school with Starbucks and have been working down there. And you really see an excitement in New Orleans post-Katrina that you see young kids all over the place. You see education really taking
well, you know, Joe, as my brother said, who's the mayor, we're not building the city we were. We're rebuilding the city we always dreamed we could be, and building it just better. The old New Orleans, but better. And that includes a brand new, exciting, entrepreneurial public school system, attracting middle-class white and black families, Hispanic, back to the system, and seeing extraordinary gains in academics because we're freeing up our principals to be great. We're expecting our teachers to be great, and this
Senator,
young
you've been
man
fighting
right here
this fight for a while.
Well, so a lot of people have. I left as Education Secretary 20 years ago with the first President Bush, and my last act was to write a letter to all the school superintendents in the country saying, why don't you try these startup schools like some of the Democrats are doing in Minnesota? There were about 7 then, and now there are about 6,000, which is 5% of the schools. And what a charter school really is, and New Orleans really led the way. But let's take Memphis. Memphis has an academy for science and engineering. I went in there in spring break. There are these kids who were failing in other schools. They were studying advanced placement biology. Their teachers are able to keep them from 7 in the morning to 7 at night on Saturday, more days a year, smaller classes, pay some teachers more than others. In other words, you take off the union rules, the government rules, and let the teachers use their own good judgment about what to do for the kids. Let the parents choose the schools, and good things happen.
And Mike, we have an Audubon Elementary Montessori school. The children are speaking fluent French by 3rd grade.
Oh, I love
Students that don't have any French speakers in their homes. Now, we had started this pre-Katrina. It was one of our best public schools, but now it's more of a public charter. Extraordinary. So whether it's math, science, STEM, or language, or art, or music, and bands are starting up, you know, symphonies, it's just amazing.
Listening to them, Joe, I know our job is TV people. We're supposed to get them to start fighting, aren't we? Yeah, and then they should start screaming.
Well, let me try this. I'm very good at this.
Hold on.
Did you hear what Mary said?
All right, so instead, since that's not what we do, but I do want to know if there's anything else that the two of you agree on or could agree on as it pertains to perhaps job creation. It may relate to education in some way, because I think it's great to come on the show and talk about one specific singular issue that you agree on, and I think a lot of people could come on the show and agree about education.
Can I just add one more thing, though, about education, and then we'll go there, because I think it's a great point. But last night we saw Connecticut. A liberal governor and a liberal legislature passed school reform, challenging some of the old assumptions. And we're not bashing unions, we're not bashing teachers' unions, but I think even a lot of teachers in teachers' unions understand we're going to have to move forward, and we're going to have to be progressive on education reform.
Unions can be a part of the reform. There's nothing keeping them from it. It just is a mindset, and I would really urge the union leaders to come down and look at what's happening in some of these charter schools and to be a part of the reform movement. You know, we've used vouchers strategically. Now, I think maybe our governor's gone a little bit too far with our voucher push in Louisiana, but strategically using vouchers, accountability at every level. Charter schools is transforming outcomes for children. At the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about academic
another thing, Joe, the hardest thing to do, and the thing we really need to do, the holy grail of schools, is finding ways to reward outstanding teaching, which means pay some teachers more than others because they're better teachers. And Tennessee started doing that 20 years ago. I had a terrible brawl with the National Education Association. We've come around a little bit. President Obama's actually stuck his neck out a little bit in support of that. But until we pay teachers more for being good teachers. We're not going to
reward
attract
success.
Yeah, reward success. And you relate that to student achievement. Not easy to do, but that needs to be done.
All right, now answer Mika's question.
Is there anything pertaining to other things, like job creation, that the two of you can't agree on?
There are all kinds of things. You know, we were talking coming in. People seem to act surprised that we argue. You know, that's like being surprised that people on the Grand Ole Opry sing. I mean,
that's what we do.
We are excessively civil to each other in the Senate. And for example, I'm working with Senator Feinstein and Bingaman and Murkowski to find a place to put used nuclear fuel. There are about 35 of us, maybe 40 of both parties working to find a way to reduce the debt with the Simpson-Bowles idea. That's a lot of senators.
I thought we just buried nuclear fuel outside of Vegas so everybody could go on Codells.
Well, we've been stuck for 20 years. We've been stuck on it. But we're going to try to fix it. It's not easy. So there's a lot going on.
So, Senator Landrieu, why is it that the Senate has been less productive over the past year or two than over the past 20 years? What's happening that's stopping progress?
Well, I would say we might be a little slower, but we are passing some bipartisan legislation that actually is balanced and could get to the president's desk and he could sign it, like this transportation bill with the Restore Act. And we passed it with 62 plus, no, actually 70 plus senators passed the transportation bill. So, you know, the House is sending us some things that don't have any Democratic support. And as a result, we can't move. But if the Senate starts something, which we have on several occasions, we've passed a small business bill that's been transformative. We're working on energy, nuclear waste. Olympia Snow and I have done some small business legislation, adoption, foster care. But transportation is really what we should be working on now.
I mean, if you're going to criticize the Senate right now, you don't criticize it because we argue.
Right.
I mean, we should be. That's what we're for.
Right.
We're not producing enough results on big issues. And, Joe, the reason for that is because the Democratic leader won't bring up enough serious legislation, and too many of the Republicans make it harder to bring it up when it comes. We need to find a way to get results.
We understand the Republicans are filibustering at record levels, and also that Harry Reid, just bluntly, is basically a pocket veto for the president. So a bill never actually gets to the president.
There's blame on both sides, but we're working through it. But, you know, Harry Reid would love to bring up important legislation if sometimes the Republicans would agree to amendments that are germane or relevant, but they won't even agree to those rules. So it's a little difficult.
What about the fact that you have some moderate senators, for instance, Olympia Snowe, now possibly Dick Lugar, who are going to not be in the Senate next year? How does that affect them?
We are going to miss Dick Lugar if he doesn't come back.
Well, I hope Dick Lugar is back. But basically, you've got most senators who are pretty able people who would like to work to get results and would like for the Senate. I mean, I mentioned the Grand Ole Opry. It's like joining the Opry and not being allowed to sing. No. So we want to see the bills come to the floor.
There you go.
We want to see results.
Senator Lamar Alexander, Senator Mary Landrieu, thank you so much.
Thank you guys for doing this.
Appreciate it.
Thank you
for that advice.